Good morning and welcome back to another Talklets conversation. Go with me to the book of Genesis, chapter 3, verse 1 through 10. This is going to be one of those familiar stories because we've all heard the story of Adam and Eve so many times, and we've read the story about Adam and Eve on so many occasions. And so we are vested in this particular story. How many of you know that during your lifetime, you look back over your life and you wish you could have a do-over because you made a decision that you would love to change. There was an event that you were at, or an event that changed your life, the trajectory of your life, or you made a choice that you would love to have a do-over. But we don't get do-overs. I mean, I would love to give you a do-over. I would love to have a do-over, if you will. Adam and Eve, they would love to have had a do-over. They would love to go back and they say, change the hands of time. They would love to go back and undo, if you would, the decision that they made. They would love to. I mean, they wish that they could. They would love to go back what we call to see the end before the beginning. We call it foresight. Foresight means I can see into the future. It means I can tap into a dimension, if you will, and see things before they happen. And that's what they got. But I want to talk about that in a few minutes, so just stay with me. We have been focused so much on this story about the apple, don't touch the tree of knowledge of good and evil. It's the apple upon the tree. Don't mess with that apple. And we've been so distracted by the apple that we forgot about the biggest apple of all times, and that's God. There is nothing bigger than God. But if you're not careful, you'll get distracted on this liberty small apple, and you'll forget about the God who created the apple, the metaphor, if you will, for disobedience. That's what's happening here. Adam and Eve have been distracted. And by being distracted, they become disobedient. The moment I see me is the moment I cease to see him in me. Let me say it again. The moment I see me, all your selfies, all your social media followers, all your fans, all your accomplishments, all your personal praise. Yeah. The moment I see me is the moment I cease to see him, Jesus, in me. Satan is so clever that he distracts us on every point you can think of. I mean, he is so subtle, he is so cunning that he distracts us. He distracted Adam and Eve in that garden to the point that they took their eyes off of God and became disobedient. He distracted Peter. You remember Peter walking on water, Peter? Peter walking on water. Lord, if it be thou, bid me to come. Peter is walking on water. And then we're told that Peter saw the wind. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never seen the wind. I mean, and if you have, what color is it? I've never seen the wind. I've seen the impact of the wind, leaves blowing down the street and leaves blowing in the trees. I've seen that, but I've never seen the wind. So Peter has something to be afraid of. That's how powerful Satan is. Don't get it twisted. He showed Peter the wind. He distracted Peter because he needed to get Peter to take his eyes off of God. So he uses all these tricks, all these elements. He had Adam and Eve to take their eyes off of God. He had Peter to take his eyes off of God. And then King David committed adultery because he took his eyes off of God. Samson told Delilah where his strength came from because he took his eyes off of God. Moses struck the rock with his staff because he took his eyes off of God. You would love to have a do-over, if you will, because somewhere back there in your past, you took your eyes off of God. Now, we don't get a do-over. It's just not going to happen. But think about it for a moment. My mom used to tell me, boy, you smelling yourself. Boy, you smelling yourself. And what she was telling me is, don't get it twisted now. You can't undo this moment. If you're going to disrespect me in this moment, I'm going to take care of some business here. So don't be smelling yourself. See, my daddy never had to say that because he just took care of business. But my mama was warning me. God warned Adam and Eve, don't mess with this tree. The difference between you and I and Adam and Eve is very simple. That before the fall, they had one command. Don't mess with that tree. Don't mess with it. And they disobeyed God. And so sin was ushered into the world. Now, you and I, we don't just have one tree to deal with. We've got sin coming from every angle, north, east, south, west, you name it, up, down, around. I mean, sin is just, it's like a monster. It's just breathing. It's just blowing on all of us. And so it's easier for us to get distracted, but we shouldn't. Stay the course. That's why God sent his only begotten son, Jesus Christ. So Jesus could prove to us, yeah, it's tough. It's tough in this world. But you can live this world upright and righteous. Ask Job. I mean, it can happen. And God is saying, so I'm going to send Jesus to unpack some things for you guys so you can see that it can happen. Because it's going to be tough. And here I go. I'm going to just paraphrase Genesis 3, verses 1 through 10. I'm going to paraphrase because you know the story. And so what I want to do, I want to focus on the main thing. And it starts in verse 5. Then your eyes shall be opened. This is Satan talking to Eve. And ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Then your eyes, keep that point. The focal point is what you see. Yes, it's what you can become. And sometimes what you see can't be undone. Your eyes shall be open, and you shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. They never knew good. They never knew good and evil. No, all they knew was God. Why do you need to know anything else when you just know God? That's a beautiful statement. What was happening here was Satan was telling them, your eyes are going to be open into a dimension, only if they knew, that will infect the human race with a virus called sin. Wow. You don't think they want to go undo that, unpack that? You don't think they want to back up and have a do-over? Oh, please. You don't think they want to go back and see the Omega before the Alpha? Of course they do. You would. And then verse 6, and the woman saw. See, sight. Isn't this something about this eye gate thing? She saw that the tree was good for food and that it was pleasant to the eyes. That's what gets us. Yeah. Yeah. This thing that we love, this visual thing, this vision we have, this sight we have that God has given to us, it's destroying us. The Bible talks about plucking out the eye if it offended. If it's a problem, you might want to get rid of it. And here we are in verse 7. But most of this conversation hinges on. And the eyes of them both were open. Like, hold up. And the eyes of them both were open. Were they blind? I mean, I didn't see anywhere in the Bible where it said they were blind. But their eyes were open, and they knew that they were naked. And they knew that they were naked. They knew they were naked already. No. Hold on. Here we go. I told you, you'll always see something different when you read the Word of God. And the eyes of them both were open. Spiritual eyes was always open. The fleshly eyes were always closed. But when sin came in, that fleshly eye opened and the spiritual eye, dimmed. That's what took place here. And they knew they were naked. Now, here comes my opinion. As we look at verse 9, God is asking, where art thou, Adam? And Adam tells him in verse 10, I was afraid because I was naked. Therefore, I hid myself. You were afraid. You've always been naked. What you mean you were afraid because you were naked? They could see themselves. And I truly believe, listen to me, this is where the word foresight comes in. I truly believe what happened. This is where the new dimension comes in. I truly believe that they were given foresight. Yeah, when their spiritual eye was dim and their fleshly eye was open, wide open. I truly believe that what took place, they got a glimpse into the future. They got a glimpse into all their offsprings and what was going to take place because of this sin, this virus that they had infected mankind with. I got a good feel that they seen themselves first. They seen how fragile they really were without God. They seen how frail they were. They seen how weak they were. They seen how limited they were. They seen how short their life was going to be in this body. They seen how small they were when it came to reality, how small they really were. They seen this flesh dying daily. They seen it depreciating. They seen it dissolving. They seen it drifting back to the dust from which it came from. They seen disease and illness. They seen death. They seen destruction. Yeah, near and far. And this is the sad part. We've all read about the atomic bomb that America dropped on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. We've all seen that big old mushroom cloud, boom, that blows up. I feel they could see that. Way back then, they had foresight. They could see the Holocaust, the genocide of the European Jews. They could see all of that. The flood in Noah days, they killed everybody and everything. The Red Sea drowning of all the soldiers. They could see slavery universal from generation to generation. They could see their children. These are their offspring. These are Adam and Eve's offsprings. They're the mother and father of all, of all. And so these are their offsprings that they're seeing the destruction of their offsprings, prostitution, pornography, human sex trafficking. They could get a glimpse of all of this hitting them. Boom, 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 boom. That's when it talks about them being naked and they were ashamed because they were ashamed of what they had introduced into the world. Wouldn't you be ashamed? They could see genocide. They could see slavery. They could see poverty. They could see homelessness. They could see murder and rape. They could see people turning their back on God. They could see atheists. They could see all this religion versus relationship. They could see wars and rumors of wars. They could see just death and destruction, abandonment. They could see children being left by themselves, single parenting, all the sex abuse and misuse. They could see all of this filling into them, just coming into them like a flood. They could see witchcraft and sorcery and people buying into that stuff. They could see the land. We talk about there's something going on in the atmosphere. It's so hot right now. They could see the destruction that was coming. They could see that we were just greedy and we wouldn't let the land rest for 1 year like we were told. They could see us breaking every commandment. Forget the 10. We've broken every statute, all 600 of them as well. They could see that foresight. Yeah, and they knew they were naked. Yeah, their eyes were open. You don't think they want a do-over? The kings killing kids up under 2 years old, babies, trying to find Jesus, get rid of Jesus because they feared for their kingdom, their kingdomship. Wow, that's what they could see. They could see that they had closed the spiritual eye gate, the vision, the lens of God. And they had opened up the spiritual eye gate of sin, of assisting the devil in all of his trickery. They could see that. Now, wouldn't you be ashamed and afraid of the naked truth? Yeah, they were ashamed because they knew they were naked. They knew the naked truth. They knew what they had done. I mean, I'm sorry. They knew exactly what they had done. And they wished they could close Pandora's door, but they couldn't close it. They had to open it. It was wide open. They couldn't shut it. The one thing we don't ever want to see ourselves. Because once I see myself, I start worshiping myself. And I don't see and I don't worship him who gave me sight to see myself. I start worshiping myself. We are reminded that Jesus fasted for 40 days in the wilderness. And when he came off his fast, Satan tempted him. He told him, turn these stones into bread. Yeah, I'm going to take you up on this pinnacle. All this land could be yours. Cast yourself down. The angels will save you. Then he told him, hey, worship me. Bow and worship me. And Jesus just had a few words for him. Jesus said, it is written. Not only is it written, Jesus was saying, I have written you off. You don't own nothing. I've written you off. It is written, the word of God, and I have written you off. We don't do that. That's why Satan finds it so comfortable to hang around us, because we don't write him off. No, we've got an itchy ear to hear what he's saying. And that's our problem. Jesus didn't have an itchy ear. He told him, it is written, and therefore I have written you off. Get thee behind me. Have you ever told the devil that it is written? And you getting rid of him and all of his tricks because you told him to get thee behind me. Get thee hence, which really means get away from me. Forget about behind me. I don't want you nowhere near me. Get away from me and mine. That's where we should be. Don't let him be comfortable around you. Jesus focused on his calling, on his purpose, which was bigger than his distraction. I pray that we stop being distracted by our eye gate. Yeah, because that's what our flesh would do. Our flesh is begging us to serve it. Because the more we serve it, yeah, the less we decrease our spiritual vision. And we can't see where we should be because we're blinded. Because, watch this, we're naked. And you shouldn't be ashamed. But we're naked. Watch this, we're naked everywhere. That's why I knew it wasn't about being naked, because everybody's naked. Just look at your family and friends. Who got clothes on? Nobody. 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 Everybody's walking around butt naked, as my mama would say. What sins have you committed that's coming around full circle to roost on your children, on your legacy? Be careful. Be careful sabotaging your own legacy. Yes, everybody is naked. You can't turn on the TV. You can't turn on social media without seeing somebody's naked butt up in your face. I mean, it's everywhere. This world has been so distracted, it's given in. I pray that you realize, if you could see the ending before the beginning, I know you'd make some differences. But hold up. Let's not get there. We don't have to get there. Yeah. The moment I see me is the moment I cease to see Jesus in me. So let me shut that down. Yeah. Let me let the naked truth be revealed and not concealed. Let me shut that down. So, Donnie, what's the moral of this conversation? It's very simple. Cease using your fleshly eye gate and start using your spiritual eye gate. The more of your tail that you show me, the more I realize you're going to hell. I pray that we're big enough, yeah, to not need a do-over. We just simply need to do better what we have right now. I don't need your tail in my face. No, it smells. What I do need, though, I need for Saul to stand up and tell the devil to go to hell. You be blessed and have a great day. Don't forget Romans 10:9. Confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord, and believe in your heart that God has raised him from the dead. Therefore, you too shall be saved.